this was hard for me because knowing that situations I found myself in, I actually created, was more than a pill to swallow. That was really nasty medicine, and for the longest time, I just wouldn't deal with it. It was something that had to be somebody else. It had to be somebody else because my intentions were good. And you think you're coming at something with a good heart, and your intentions are good, then it has to be the other person's fault if things go wrong. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship you're having, whether it's work, personal, friendship, with your kids, with your parents, with your siblings. It always takes two to tango. And so having to sit back and realize that I made choices based on my personal beliefs that landed me in this situation, that was tough. So what about these situations that we create? Well, in my case, and tell me if this rings true for you, I always made decisions based on how it was going to benefit everybody else except me. I had a first marriage that failed. And as much as it hurt and it was awful, and we won't get into all that, but always, I knew that it wasn't just one person. All of the reactions I had, or how I handled what happened, was all on me. So you make these choices because you think, well, this is the best I can do, or like with a job, I can't really expect any better job, and this kind of job's going to have a boss like that, and yeah, he's an asshole. I'll just try to do all the stuff that's good, and maybe they'll notice me, maybe they'll like me, maybe it'll work out. And then you get to this point where you sit down one day and you're like, this is sucking the life out of me. I can't hold on to any happiness. I'm distracted all the time. I'm tired all the time. And I feel disillusioned. Maybe you don't use that word, but you just feel like I don't want to do anything. I don't care if anything happens. I just want to hide. I just want to be here in my house and curl up in my shell because I've had enough of the world for a while. That's red flag number one, that you've inadvertently made some choices. And they can be little tiny choices that create really big situations. It's not just how you react to other people. It's choices that you make based on who you think you are and what you think you deserve. So I would say things like it's not fair. I'd feel completely defeated. I would feel like, and I'm looking at notes here to make sure I'm on track. So you get all this started, you make these choices, and then it's not just you that lives with them, right? It becomes this big old snowball with chain reactions, and especially when you make choices about life partners and, choices about how you deal with interpersonal relationships. And if you don't have a good interpersonal relationship with you, then you're not going to have a healthy relationship with anybody else. We've covered this before, but in this particular instance, if you notice recurring themes in your life, like I pretty much was always attracted to the wrong guy. The people I thought I really wanted for friends, I really didn't pursue that because I just assumed that they wouldn't want to hang out with me because there was nothing special about me that was exciting or in their sphere of consciousness about what exciting or interesting was, and I just assumed they wouldn't want anything to do with me. So I didn't actively pursue things that I really wanted because I just assumed that I couldn't have them. When you boil it down to a core, that's what it is. And so years go by, and this thought pattern snowballs, and before you know it, you've got a really large problem on your hands, and you feel trapped, and you don't know, how do I make this right? How do I get out of it? How do I figure out how to be happy? So you have to set boundaries. If you are dependable and trustworthy, and you volunteer for everything, and you're always the person that they're taking from, and you don't set any boundaries, the only person that's going to wring the life out of is you. If there's no boundary, you have to set your own boundaries, and you have to believe that you can set your own boundaries without going, well, they're going to think I'm a bitch, or they're going to think I'm a hard ass, or they're going to think I'm mean, or they're going to just take the words they're going to think and just throw them way out in the cornfield somewhere and bury them, because you don't need that in your life. And that's part of why you don't make choices for you, is you're worried about what other people think. I know that's what I was doing. So until I realized this pattern of behavior and started to correct it, I was finding little pockets of joy, but basically my life was sucking the life out of me. And I felt unappreciated even when I knew that I was appreciated. Now that sounds nuts. But if you struggle with self-esteem, which is different from self-confidence, you can have confidence about yourself. You know what you do well. You know when you feel good, and you know when you're talking with someone that you trust, how you feel comfortable. You can have confidence and not have esteem. Esteem is what we talked about last week, where you hold yourself in a certain regard. And we hold other people in a certain regard. We hold our loved ones, our friends, and our pastor, everybody. You have a certain amount of esteem for those people, and it's based on things like their integrity, their honesty, their humor, all of these things. These are criteria that you don't honestly think about, but it causes you to hold these people in esteem. Now, if you took that list of things that causes you to hold people in esteem, and you apply it to yourself. So if you struggle with self-esteem, inferiority issues, maybe, and all of us have had those wonderful external examples from people where they try to put you in your place, usually because there's something about you that's just a little bit scary. And I don't mean that you're ugly. I mean, there's something about your vibe or your aura, your vibration that intimidates them because they're insecure. So you see where we're going with this. All right, so where was I? I lost my place. I do that a lot. So this is what I said, this was the hard thing, because I had this conversation with myself out loud. Anyone struggling with self-esteem, self-image, self-confidence, and self-love is difficult to operate outside of the martyr zone. Everybody hates that word, including me. But it applies to me, and I've done it for a lot of my life. I just kept thinking, I'll sacrifice myself for everyone else's happiness, and someday they'll all love me. It's like, and I equate this to, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie The Christmas Story, Little Ralphie, he would imagine all these scenes where they'll realize they were wrong, and I remember thinking that stuff as a kid. If I got blamed for something I didn't do, or I felt I was punished unfairly, or I was treated unfairly by kids at school, or, a teacher or whatever. And you go off by yourself and you imagine these scenarios where you're this winner, this person who's strong, who doesn't cow down and run away. And someday, it's the martyr syndrome. And I don't know if it's called that. I call it that. So this is when we really only feel totally good about ourselves if we are sacrificing for other people. Because we would feel too guilty to put ourselves in the driver's seat of that. So we literally frame our perspective of everything this way, and we end up creating what we told our subconscious to expect. So if we tell our subconscious, all 6'2" guys with dark hair and brown eyes are going to break my heart, then even if you meet a 6'2" guy with brown eyes, and he's the most wonderful person ever, at some point you're going to create something about your behavior. Trust me, I've done this. Something about your behavior is going to cause a reaction from him, and then all of a sudden it's his fault, and your subconscious goes, aha, see, you told me to expect that, and there it is. You literally create situations without realizing it by how you behave, because somewhere deep down you think that's what you're supposed to get from this exchange. That is a really hard thing to say. It's a really hard thing to hear. I literally created certain situations with certain people because they defied my expectation, and I wasn't ready for that. So that was a hard pill. And so sitting down and figuring that out, and having to literally stop myself almost every time I went to speak to my spouse or someone else that I was dealing with in public, friends, or whatever, I'd have to stop and mentally, just for a second, go, don't do it again. Don't do it again. I started to change my perspective. I started to change my words and my behavior when the perspective started to change. And literally everybody that knew me, the ladies I work with, everybody was like, there's something different about you. Oh, yeah. And it was hard won. We want to break the cycle of rinse and repeat. And this is where I went. This is how I got this. And actually, you probably don't care, but when I came up with the title for this blog, I was sitting here working, and this stupid commercial from the 70s was in my head. It was for shampoo, of course, and so that's so your subconscious will sound the alarm bells if something is potentially going to hurt us. In other words, if you've told your subconscious, all 6'2" guys with black hair and brown eyes are going to hurt me, your subconscious, when you have this immediate reaction to the guy you said is going to hurt you, and that's what happens, your subconscious goes, hey, wait, you said. Remember the last one, you got your heart broken. Immediately followed by, but you know what, wait, this one might be different. You're stronger now. You're older now. Insert the you're this. You can make it work. There's the rinse. You just whitewash your own argument with your subconscious with a rinse. And because you're looking at this person, and this is the reason I'm using the man is because that's really the most intense feeling that we're going to have all at one time. So next comes the replace, which is this time I'll do it better. Been through it, went through it, got over it, or got past it and picked it all apart while I was getting over it, and now I know the things, and this time I'll do it better. And there's the replace. And then you back up the diagnosis you just made with you're still overweight, or you have acne, or you're too tall or short, or you don't have a really great job, your clothes are old and out of style, you name it. My all-time favorite is, if they really knew you, they'd run like hell because you dream big and hate yourself at the same time. Boom, there's the repeat. So you're going to choose something you know is probably not good for you because what? You think you don't deserve any better. That was that whole conversation. The rinse, the replace, the repeat was this conversation where you're justifying, or I was justifying, making a decision I know that's bad for me. We can justify anything, and we can say all of the things, but in the end, we know touching that stove is going to be hot. If we choose to do it anyway, it's not going to make any difference to the burn on our fingers what the justification was. Bad analogy, but there it is. So a healthy mindset, if you have a healthy mindset, not giving up on a goal or something you're trying to achieve, that's how you succeed at anything. It's how you learn skills. And for me, it was how I learned to sing, it was how I learned to play drums, it was how I learned all of these other things. So I refused to give up because these things were going to be good for me. In an unhealthy mindset, not giving up is literally the equivalent to repeatedly slamming your own hand in a car door and wondering why it hurts. And how many times in your life have you in some situation said, why does this keep happening? Well, now we know why. So we bring in now the growing frustration and disillusionment, and it starts to build because we're not dealing with it. We're just, in my case, medicating with either food or alcohol, or going out for a good time with people I don't even know and faking being happy, just anything to get it off of our mind for a few minutes. And so in all of this, is it really that the universe hates us, or is the universe sending us exactly what we asked for, exactly what we set up, exactly what we sent out? And like I say, I've been there. I know this is hard. If it's ringing true for you, it's not a big storm cloud. It's actually fixing to pass. I'm making progress. And because there's no one-time fix for our mindset, which would be ridiculous. It's not like we can fix a screw, and it's our brains. And I don't care who you think you are and how smart you think you are. Your brain is brilliant, and it's always working. It never stops working, even when you're asleep. Even if you're unconscious having surgery, your brain is working because it's keeping your body alive, and it just your subconscious never stops 24/7, 365 for your whole of your life. Just like your heart, it never stops working. Your subconscious takes in pictures that we don't realize. It takes in information that we don't realize. And it assigns feelings to the ones that it sees as red flags. So things that happen around you, words that are said to you, situations, you assign feelings to that. Your subconscious goes, okay, This is our modus operandi for now. Changing that thought pattern isn't as hard as you think. It takes a little work. And if we consistently work with our self-talk and with our issues of self-esteem, oh, I'm sorry. Wow. I thought I was going to sneeze. That could have been interesting. We consistently work with every day, not just building ourselves up. Yeah, you want to build yourself up and tell yourself, the good things, but we also want to say in conversations during the day with ourselves, anything that's going to cause us to hold ourselves in esteem. Congratulate, praise is one of the best ways to do that. I mean, even in a situation where you don't think it turned out all that well, but find something and praise yourself. So it didn't work out perfectly. Hey, I was nice and I didn't lose my temper in the grocery store today. Hey, I did not get mad when that guy cut me off in traffic. You're getting better, Marie. Hey, somebody's grumpy, and rather than either tease them about it or make a comment or just kind of absorb that energy and become grumpy too, I'm over here doing my thing and I'm happy. You'll notice these things. It's consistent. But once this starts to take hold and you start to make better choices on the little scale, and by little scale I mean the everyday choices, not just what you eat, not just what you wear, but how you move and what you do and what you think and what you say, these choices that you make millions of them. We all make millions of choices every day. We just don't think about it. Start to consciously make better choices about the little things, the everyday things, the stuff we don't notice. Then we're going to consciously make better choices about the bigger things. And we're going to realize that we hold ourselves in esteem. And if we need to say no, we say no. And if we need to make a decision that's not going to be popular with some other people, so be it. It's not that, I'm going to be selfish and I'm not thinking about other people. The only way you can be selfless and really be a giver and really have a heart for service is to take care of you first. How are you going to have your heart in service? And for me, I'm a Christian. That's what it's about. Serving other people and being there for other people and lifting them up. And how you can't continue to do that if you're not taking care of you. It will suck the life out of you, and then you'll end up worse off and more depressed than you were before. So it's not about zeroing out everybody else and it's only about me. It's about it's about time it was about me. If we can start making our better choices for us, not because we think we should, or because Marie said so, or because I'm writing it in my journal, or because it's on my affirmations list. It's because I hold myself in esteem. I am not only enough, I'm a worthy person, I'm a good person. You know what? I didn't get super real until I got real with me. It turns out I'm not that scary. So, yeah, and neither are you. Not only are you not scary, you're awesome and amazing and brilliant and worthy and worth everything that you want out of life, every relationship that you want, everything that you want to achieve for yourself. You're worth it. And I want you to start believing that so that other things in your life will change for you. And the energy changes going out. The universe goes, aha, she finally woke up and she's ready, or he finally woke up and he's ready. Let's send the good stuff now, because that's the vibration they're sending out. I promise you. I've even talked to God and he confirms this. No, I'm not Mother Teresa, but I pray a lot and I talk to the universe a lot, and I know for a fact that the energy you send out is the energy you get.